What is up? Welcome back to the Creative Differences Podcast. I'm Dallas, and I got an icebox where my heart used to be.
I guess that's
That's
one
not
way
where
to
I thought that
handle
was
it.
going.
Nope.
I'm Colin, and Plague's still going, man.
Show is.
And I'm Demi, and hopefully this will be a shorter episode than usual, but knowing us, we'll find a way. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture related items. Today we're doing something a little bit different because, as we said, we are still in a plague. So we actually didn't get to see any movies this past weekend, aka the 355, which is what Gabby wanted to see.
Yes.
But we still decided that we're going to do a review. We're not going to review a movie, but we are going to talk about what we've been watching. And we are going to do a recap of trailers that we haven't been able to watch over the past holiday because we've been busy with holiday stuff. Hope you guys are having a good New Year so far.
Yeah. Hope everything is all good. I hope you enjoyed the year in review episodes that we painstakingly made for you, mostly to me. But except for Colin, we all sat there and recorded those long ass episodes for you. So I hope you enjoyed them.
The TV episode was a lot. When we got to the end of that one, it was so much.
Oh boy, what a week that was.
But yeah, we are back to social distancing podcasting at the moment.
Yeah, we Zencasting again. Shout out Zencaster, send us some money, please. Yeah, it's like a normal episode, except without the first part. So you get how
Like,
it
share,
goes.
subscribe, hit that button down below. We love to see it.
Please do all that because you should start off your new year, supporting small businesses or creatives, whatever sounds better to you, whatever's going to get you to help us because we need your help. Please
also,
help.
Creatives who are all black right now because Gabby's not here.
All black right now. Sounds hilarious to me. Like for the time being, we're all black,
But then when Gabby comes
see what
back,
goes.
If Gabby ever comes back, then we won't all be black. But
you could have just said all people of color. Like, why you gotta separate us out?
It's just we're all black right now.
It's so much
Sounds
funnier
like
this way.
When you catch us in February, it's like one of us might be Chinese. Just so you know.
You can't do that in February. Any other month is fine.
You're right. We definitely got to be black in February. Gabby's gonna be black in February.
There we go.
All right, we're all black until further notice.
Like I said, Gabby would have to come back for it to change. Anyway.
True, she ain't coming back. If you're wondering where Gabby is, she said she needed to sleep, but she lied. Either way, she's not here.
That's not. No, she didn't lie. She didn't need to sleep. That's not a lie. What she said was, I need to sleep. She didn't say, I'm gonna be asleep. So she didn't lie.
Colin, I'm
Dallas.
in charge of telling the audience where the missing people are.
Yeah, and you're wrong.
I'm not. I can't be wrong because I'm in charge. Moving on.
Dallas, what you been watching?
I have Colin to thank for this. I have been watching a show called Spongebob Docupants. And it is the best thing I've seen in so long. It's on Amazon Prime Video. No one knows about this. Like, I'm so glad that Colin is still on Tumblr because I was never going to find out about this thing.
Oh, 100%.
Colin, have you seen any more of it than you had before?
I'm still waiting to watch it with the boyfriend, so I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but even just that, from the Boba thing and the Nasty Patty, like...
Okay, I couldn't remember what the first 2 were.
It's so good.
It's so... Okay, so, for starters, I was trying to find out who did this because I was like, who's responsible for this? When you watch it on Prime Video, they have the little Nickelodeon intro, so it's, official in that capacity. IMDb has it listed as directed and written by Joe Kost. I don't know how to say this name. It's Kostiw. The W throws me off completely. I don't know. Joe and Kyle Moffat. Neither of them have a lot of other credits, but apparently they did this, and I'm so glad they did. It stars Kent Shocknick as himself. Apparently, in real life, he was a prominent newscaster who became an actor who always played a prominent newscaster. So, like, if you look at his IMDb credits, it's usually either his own name or TV reporter, TV newscaster, news reporter, news anchor, newscaster, news anchor, newscaster. I'm reading them. Like, this is what they say.
He found his niche.
Yes.
And just sort of went sideways, but stayed in his niche.
Right. Like, he was doing that in real life, and then he started to just do it in TV and movies, which is hilarious to me. But yeah, they basically take SpongeBob episodes and events of the show and frame it as a docuseries, but they play it completely straight. It's so funny. It's the best thing. Like, if you like SpongeBob, definitely watch this because I can't get over it. I was posting clips on my Insta story and people kept asking, like, what is this? This is amazing. I need to see it. It's like, yes, you do. The different episodes have different docu-genres. Like the Nasty Patty episode is a true crime documentary about the murder of a health inspector. Or the investigation of a murder of a health inspector. The hash slinging slasher episode is a paranormal investigation because they tell it like the hash slinging slasher is actually a ghost. So you bring in like the guys who would do the "Hey demons, it's me, your boy," that kind of like energy. And then there's a behind the music episode on Sweet Victory, which is one of my favorites. They have like an ESPN 30 for 30 type episode about the Fry Cook games. It's so good. They use everything. So they'll use little animation details and work them into the documentary story because, a lot of these episodes were made in like 1999. They don't put a whole lot of, I guess, detail into certain things, like the way they draw things, like the one with the Nasty Patty. When they open the freezer to look for the dude and it's empty, but they didn't draw any food in the episode. Like they just drew an empty freezer. So the guy who's doing the interview, he says like, you have to pay attention to the police report. It doesn't say that the inspector wasn't in there. It says the freezer was completely empty. What happened to all the food? And it's like, it's pretty suspicious if you ask me. Like, it's so, the way that they can just use these random details that obviously when they drew the episode, they were just trying to draw it as fast as possible. One of my favorites is the hash slinging slasher episode. Squidward's going through everything that happens. The phone will ring, the lights will blink, blah, blah, blah. And then, the walls will ooze green slime. He says, wait, they always do that. And then they cut to this woman and she's like, we scoured the blueprints. We scoured records. There's no evidence that the walls of the Krusty Krab have ever oozed green slime before. And then you have this like demonologist guy and he's like, and pay attention to what Squidward said. He said, they always do that. I think the spirit of the slasher was messing with his memory. Like, it's so hilarious. And they have different people playing different, like, experts and interviewers in each episode. They're all hilarious. Sweet Victory was fantastic. They go over SpongeBob's, like, musical history. They're talking about, this is a band of amateurs. It's like, well, SpongeBob, he was a well-established musician already. And they play, like, Ripped Pants, the Krusty Krab pizza song, like every song, Stepping on the Beach, like every song that SpongeBob has done, they put it into like a behind the music.
Man's got a catalog.
He really does. And it's funny because you never think about it. And they'll talk about how the band never got back together after Sweet Victory, but like some of them have put out other songs. So like SpongeBob and Eugene put out a single together and it's the one where they're singing because SpongeBob works at the Trum Bucket and it's like a house is not a home or whatever. But that version, I was like, this is amazing. They talk about the flag twirler's death in the band when they were spinning too fast.
Oh yeah, when they like, fly up and
Squidward,
hit
he really blamed himself. But like, how could he have known? How could he have known they were gonna fly? I love it. And then last thing I want to bring up is they have an episode called When Sea Creatures Attack. It's like a mashup. They cover the sea bear, the Alaskan bullworm, and that random gorilla.
Oh yeah,
that popped up underwater. It's just like the way they use dialogue from the show and work it in is so great. Like they bring in an animal expert for the Alaskan bullworm and the sea bear. He's like, this guy Squidward, man, he was doing all the wrong stuff. Like he drew an oval. Never draw an oval. It has to be a circle. And then when they're talking about Sandy trying to confront the Alaskan bullworm, he's like, the last thing you want to do is go find an Alaskan bullworm. Like, I don't know, a better option might be, I don't know, I'm like taking the town and pushing it somewhere else or something like that.
Yes.
It's like, oh God, this is amazing. Colin, thank you so much for telling me about this because I had no way to find it.
You're so welcome.
But I watched all the episodes. I watched them with my niece who loves SpongeBob and she thought it was great. Jordan thinks it's great. It's so great. If you haven't seen it and you have access to Amazon Prime, go do that. It's very short. It's like, I think 6 to 8 episodes. They're all like very short. Yeah, enjoy it. It's a fun time. That's SpongeBob Docupants.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I guess we're moving on to mine. So I've been watching The Book of Boba Fett, obviously.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
Star Wars nerd. The Book of Boba Fett was created by Jon Favreau and it is showrun by Robert Rodriguez, the man, the myth, the legend. It stars Tamora Morrison and Ming-Na Wen. Synopsis: the legendary bounty hunter Boba Fett navigates the underworld of the galaxy with mercenary Fennec Shand when they return to the sands of Tatooine to stake their claim on the territory formerly ruled by the deceased crime lord Jabba the Hutt. Yes, I've been having a good time. Boba Fett is a character that has always been considered cool in the Star Wars universe, but like, it's only because he looks cool.
Oh yeah.
It's like, like I can be objective enough to say that the only thing cool about Boba Fett has always been the look of Boba Fett and nothing else. because he doesn't do anything else except get eaten by a sarlacc in episode 6.
Yeah.
Unless you've read like the expanded universe novels, which I didn't read most of those. So, and those are now no longer canon. So when Robert Rodriguez came in and directed that episode in The Mandalorian season 2, that's when I was like, ah, yes, Robert Rodriguez is now showing us why Boba Fett is cool. And now he's got his own TV show. And the TV show is really good so far. There's only 2 episodes. Well, there's 3 episodes by the time this podcast episode comes out. But I've only seen 2 so far because there are only 2 right now. It's really interesting because I feel like this is the first time Star Wars has very much depended on like flashbacks, using it as like a framing method. Because with Star Wars, it's such an expansive universe, you don't have to use flashbacks because there's always another medium where you can go and explore whatever was just mentioned. So, like the original Star Wars movies mention the Clone Wars, but we never got to see what the Clone Wars were or see what any explanation of it was until 25 years later when Attack of the Clones came out.
Right.
And then even then, the Attack of the Clones was the beginning of the Clone Wars, and then the movie after it, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, was the end of the Clone Wars. And then we had an entire animated series, which was the actual Clone Wars themselves. Star Wars has never really needed to do flashbacks. So it's been really interesting to see Robert Rodriguez bring a new creative direction into Star Wars and bring something new to the table. And not just that, but most of the flashbacks so far have been Boba kind of being adopted into the Tusken Raider culture. And the Tusken Raiders have always been very antagonistic, primitive beings on Tatooine that have no sort of personality, no sort of culture. I guess the word you would use is they're savage beings. There's nothing more to them except to be a danger of the deserts of Tatooine. And so this show finally gives them a culture and kind of expands and branches out to give us an understanding of the Tusken Raiders as a society, which is really cool. Instead of just making them some antagonistic creature, which, Anakin Skywalker commits genocide against in episode 2.
Yeah.
We get to see like a tribe of people, and we get to see how they handle things in the desert and how they survive. And it's been very, very cool to see them almost kind of parallel with like indigenous cultures that we see in real life, which is really cool instead of, just having them be wild animals.
Yeah, nuance is nice.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I've always loved about Star Wars is that Star Wars is so expansive that you can take a creature like the Tusken Raiders and you can make them into something interesting, something that has meaning and has depth.
Right.
But yeah, I really like what they've done with the Tusken Raiders on the show. There are probably people out there who can better articulate the way that they've given depth to this society. I love that they've given depth to Boba Fett. I've seen people who are complaining. They're like, "Oh, Boba Fett's weak now." And it's like, "No, Boba Fett's not weak. He's just a three-dimensional character now."
Right.
He's not just an image of a cool thing. He actually has a personality and does things and has flaws and makes mistakes and things like that. That doesn't make him weak. It makes him a person.
Oh, he's weak now. Why? All you did was see him get eaten before.
Right. Fought some stuff and then he got eaten.
Right.
The one thing that I'm hoping for as the show goes forward, because like I said, we're only 2 episodes in, I really want more Fennec Shand, played by Ming-Na Wen. I love her dynamic with Boba Fett. She's like, "Hey, I'll kill this guy for you." And he's like, "No, you don't have to do that. It's okay." Like,
I'll kill this guy.
Like, that's like the basis of their relationship, and it's great, and I love it. And Ming-Na Wen is just amazing. So
She's
I'm
dope.
hoping, yeah, seeing as she's second build on the show, I'm hoping that she shows up more. Especially because we haven't really delved too deep into Boba taking over as the daimyo of Mos Espa, but I'm sure that we will in the coming episodes. But the last 2 episodes have been pretty flashback heavy, which is very new for Star Wars. I'm looking forward to see what happens next. It's the first show of the year for me, and I'm excited.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video that's been going around of Patton Oswalt and Parks and Rec?
So I saw that video when it first came out.
Like you saw were you watching Parks and Rec when that happened?
No, I just saw that clip because it was
Right.
really popular at the time, and I just wanted to see what he was saying.
Right.
So yes, I am aware that he said
That's
that, and
so
then
funny
here
to
we
me.
are, and Boba
I love
Fett
that they
does
did that.
exactly that. It seems
that's
like
so
something
funny.
Robert Rodriguez would do just to mess with people.
Oh, definitely. I would definitely do that if I was him. Colin, do you know what we're talking about?
I have no idea.
Okay. I'm guessing you haven't seen Parks and Rec, but
Nope.
you're aware of it.
Yeah.
So there's like an episode, I guess Patton Oswalt's character, he plays a Star Wars nerd because, Patton Oswalt. And I guess he's trying to do like a filibuster or something. And
Yes.
he's on the podium and he's just reading what I guess is his pitch for, I don't know where we were in Star Wars at the time, but it was episode, I guess like a remake of one of the sequels or something. You know how Star Wars nerds get sometimes.
Mhm.
And he was basically pitching like a way for Boba Fett to come back.
Mhm.
And they ended up basically the beginning of the show is exactly his pitch, like as he pitched it in the show.
Yeah, the flashback of how Boba got out of the Sarlacc pit is basically what Patton. It's like word for word how he described the shot happening in his filibuster,
Right.
and it's hilarious.
So people are like posting side by side the show Book of Boba Fett and then showing him like describe his pitch for it, and it's so great, and I just love the internet so much.
Colin, anything you've been watching?
You know what, Demi? Let's have a conversation.
Let's do it.
Ooh, Colin is in.
I got to things a little bit later than you did, but dog, The Witcher season 2
slaps.
It's so weird because season 1 I still think is I've seen it 3 times and I still think is all
You've
right.
watched it more than me. I think
Well,
I've watched season 1 in completion twice, but I've watched episode 5 and 6 religiously. Those are the 2 that I
which ones are
rewatch
those?
constantly. Those are the Yennefer Geralt episodes.
Oh, okay.
Makes
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, it's like I was watching season 2 and I was like varying levels of like this is cool to pretty much anytime Yennefer's on screen I'm like and then it goes back to Geralt and Ciri and I'm like, yeah, this is my shit, give me more of this. And then all of a sudden that last episode hit and just a banger from start to finish.
Such a good episode.
Oh my god, just the possession start, love that. Love someone getting possessed. It's awesome. She's awesome.
Ciri is so much better this season.
And you know what's funny is I didn't dislike her in season
No, I've
1.
never disliked Ciri. It just this time she was so much more interesting.
She was. And it's that was what was weird for me was when I started the season 2 thinking like, she is so much more interesting. I didn't realize that she was like less interesting in season 1, but looking back, she's so much better here.
Yes.
Also, she looks wildly older and it's really great because that's just the actress. Right. But like it's been 2 years in real time and no time at all in the show. So it's like I thought it was a different actress. When I first saw her, I was like, did they recast Ciri?
Yeah,
I would have heard about that, but then no.
She legitimately just is older
Freya
and they changed her eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the first season, I think they gave her like the blonde eyebrows to match her hair, but this time she has the dark eyebrows.
Yeah, I like the contrast more.
Yeah. I think they did a lot of stuff better this time. I seem to be in the minority. I've seen a lot of people complaining about season 2, but I think a lot of things worked out. Like the setup for season 1 paid off pretty well in season 2, in my opinion. I loved seeing Yennefer completely powerless. I felt like she needed to go through something like that. I loved seeing Geralt be the dad that he's always secretly wanted to be. He's always wanted to care for people, and now he gets the opportunity.
Okay, see, here's the thing, right? I've been thinking for a while about, I think, a meme I saw on Twitter, and I think you might have shared it, and it was like, I can fix him, says the woman who is
Yennefer, I
worse.
can fix him?
Geralt doesn't need fixing. He's fine. Like, he could be more expressive. I'll give him that. But he's a pretty good dude, all things considered.
He is a pretty good dude, all things considered, yes. I just think that's so funny. It's so
But yeah,
great.
she is absolutely worse.
She's so much worse, but it's also every time people are like, she's worse to me, and I'm like, I understand this, but he fixes her too. So it's like they fix each other, like Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Like going into season 3, I'm more into her. I was not really into her, like for season 1 and season 2, just because she has felt like the most selfish character in the entire show.
She is. She's the most self-centered. She's the most ambitious, and it's because of the way that the world has treated her. It's the way that I think the thesis of her character in the first 2 seasons is when she has that argument with Istrid in season 1, where she's like,
"My world is cruel, unpredictable. You enter, you survive, you die."
Like that's how she views the world. So she does anything she can to get hers. And season 2, I thought was very important for her to be powerless because she learns that it's not just about her. Especially when she has those interactions with Ciri. I feel like she gets the most gratification that she's ever felt in life when she's teaching Ciri how to do magic. And I thought that was very important for her growth and her development.
Also, speaking of characters who had growth and development, the Fringilla storyline was incredible. that was maybe my favorite part of the entire season because I just didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
She's
But,
great.
like,
And her and Francesca together. Great.
oh my god, it's so good. I wish that we didn't need fantasy racism because we don't need it and we could do without it, but fine, if you're gonna have it, at least have somebody not be racist and be like, "No, actually, I'm gonna work with them because 'cause they're cool."
Yeah, Frangilla was like, I'm not about this.
And I like it because it established her as her own person. Because the first season was a lot of like, "I'm gonna do whatever Kahir says. The white flame, blah, 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 blah."
That
But,
was
like,
her
now
character flaw.
she
Yeah.
right, yeah, now she's actually making her own decisions and wanting her own things and proving to Kahir that I mean, she could probably kick his ass if she wanted to.
Oh, she could.
She chooses not to, that's kind of what that scene was about with the dining room and everybody, but, like
It was her coming into her own power.
yeah, and it slaps.
I think even in the first season, when the magic people are having their council meeting, they talk about
Mhm.
how Frangilla is a pushover and that she needs a stronger hand.
Mm.
This season, she definitely gets that stronger hand. Although Amir is gonna punish the mess out of them when we get to season 3.
I mean, yeah, I don't care what he does to Kahir. Kahir sucks. He can go. But I just want Fringilla to find a way out of it and like live her own life and not go back to Aratuza because her uncle sucks.
But yeah, season 3 should be I'm so excited. I thought season 2 ended so well and just
It
ended
did.
in a
It really
place
did.
where I really wanted to see more.
Absolutely.
It had such a great ending. We finally got the family together. They're gonna have a huge conflict with the entire political warfare now basically revolving around them.
See, that I thought was one of the best choices that the show made was to be like to have everybody at Aratuza be like, cool, we gathered all the different heads of nations and we're all gonna focus in on this specific girl. We need this specific girl. And it's like, okay, great. That makes it so much easier to keep track of.
Yep.
It's like, because that's what you were telling me when I was watching the episode was like, yeah, it simplifies things and it does in a way that's fantastic.
Yeah, and it should shrink the story a lot next season instead of it
hmm
being so broadly expanded. Season 2 kind of needed to be expanded because everybody was in their different places and doing their different things. But
hmm
now, by the end of season 2, everything's condensed, everything is more streamlined. So season 3 should definitely be more streamlined along the way.
It's all really well focused, I think is what works really well.
Yeah.
Like, we know the main objective, like, it's always been Siri, but now it's clear to everyone.
Yeah.
And that's great.
The Witcher season 2, so good. I can't wait for season 3. I hope it's not another 2
So,
years.
Blood Origin looks like it slaps.
It's gonna slap. Michelle Yeoh, man, it's gonna slap.
She's so good. I'm so excited to see what that is.
I think it's the creation of the Witchers, actually.
Oh, is it Philovandrel's Uprising or even before that?
I don't know, but I think
Might be
it's
before
supposed to be
that.
about the creation of the Witchers.
Oh, Blood Origin. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, which is why I thought it was
Interesting.
interesting that I think that's why they showed it at the end of season 2 because season 2 made such a big deal of how the Witchers were created in the first place.
hmm
So
hmm
it's all coming together. News or trailers? It's more like a trailer tracking. It's
It is a trailer. I mean, there's a couple news things at the bottom, but
mostly trailer tracking.
starting with trailer tracking.
Starting with the TV shows first, and we're gonna go from like newest to oldest. I just felt like that was a better idea.
So Bel-Air.
Bel-Air. Dallas, me and
I
you grew up watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
honestly, I think I might be the biggest Fresh Prince fan on the planet. I'm excited. I am excited to see what they're gonna do, if they're gonna borrow from story arcs that they used last time, or that NBC used last time. I'm excited to see how the dramatic take will differ from a comedic take.
Yeah, it does. It's looking like it's really good because, like, watching the trailer, I was like, it's very similar to the OG because we're getting similar dynamics. It's obviously a similar story. He gets in trouble in Philly, moves out to Bel-Air to
hmm
live with his aunt and uncle. But,
Yeah.
like, it's different enough for it to stand on its own and possibly lead to new places.
Yeah, like we don't have to do everything we did last time, but there's some stuff in there that definitely lends itself to a dramatic take because the show wasn't just haha all the time.
Yeah, it
There
was
was a
not.
lot of serious stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of the same issues that they talked about in the show are no less relevant now.
No.
Like you can do an episode about Carlton and Will getting stopped by police. You can do an episode about Carlton feeling like he needs to buy a gun because, there's gun violence out in the streets.
That one might happen even sooner based on the way that this premise is going.
Yeah. I was like, oh right. Like
They were like,
it
"Nah,
was
it
so
wasn't
funny.
just a fight out on the basketball court. This was
Right.
guns got pulled, stuff happened."
Yeah.
I was like, "Dang, whoa,
Shots is
wait."
busting off. Like, this is real. It's like funny but sad there's one joke that they made on the show that people always bring up because it came 20 something years ago when Jazz is gonna testify and he's next to the cop and he has his hands up and they're like, Jazz, you can put your hands down now. He's like, nope, dude got a gun. Next thing I know, I got 5 warning shots in my back. That's a joke, but it's also
Real.
painfully relevant now. It's like, God, that joke was in the 90s. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah. And I like
I
the
do
new
like the
cast.
trailer.
Oh, I thought the trailer was great, and I like the new cast so far. I think they're all playing their
Mhm.
roles really well in this trailer, and it'll be interesting to see how dynamics shift in this dramatic version, because
Yeah.
I feel like Carlton and Will's relationship is still like the same based on this trailer, but it's also just it feels slightly different. Like it feels like Carlton is just slightly different to the
He
point where it
feels
makes it change.
he
It feels
feels a
popular.
bit. Yeah, well, I think he was popular at his
High school.
school even in the original. But yeah, he kind of feels different and there's like a bit he feels a little antagonistic. Like there's a
He
vibe
feels
of that.
well, even then, Carlton was a little bit antagonistic, like when Will first started going to the school. I feel like maybe it's just Carlton feels less like a square. Like he feels like
Definitely.
like a rich kid, but he doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a square. He feels like he fits into this rich society.
Yeah, but like the way that he shows up because originally, they meet, Carlton says like, "Oh, hey, Will," and then Will is doing his roasting thing. But like this time, he immediately runs up. He's like, "I can't wait till we can talk about how you're really like why you're really
Why you
here." And
really
it's like,
here?
"Yo,
Yeah.
will you ease up a little bit, bro?"
We didn't get a lot
It's
of
so
Ashley in this trailer,
no,
but
and
she's
it's funny because I'm not used to like I'm used to the characters having a certain look.
yeah.
So like when Hillary shows up and she's not like super light skinned,
Yeah.
I was like, "That's Hillary? Okay." But
But
it
also
makes sense.
it was
The
crazy because
parents
she
are
said
both not.
Will in
Yeah.
like the same fashion that the original Hillary said it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Also, I like to see Aunt Viv is Cassandra Freeman,
I love her, and she was on
who
Atlanta. She was in the Juneteenth episode.
yes, she was married to the white dude in the Juneteenth episode. And also she was on Luke Cage playing
Yep,
Thirsty MILF, which is not the character name, but
that's how
it's an
you
apt
remember her.
description. Yeah, that's how I remember her. She was the one who was trying to get some coffee, quote unquote.
She's great. Yeah,
Colin, what's this look on your face?
That character description is just,
that's what it was.
I mean, I guess ladies got range.
Definitely. Definitely. Glad to see her.
Looking forward to seeing Jeffrey on the show.
Yeah, they changed his last name, which doesn't matter, but I just like I am too invested in Fresh Prince. Like minor things that don't matter at all, I notice and I'm like, why'd they do that? But his last name was Butler in the show, so it's like,
Yeah,
a
probably
butler
change
named
Bit
it up.
on the
Butler. I get
nose.
it. Little on the nose, change it up or whatever.
Yeah, this isn't a comedy anymore; it's a drama, so you probably shouldn't be that on the nose about it.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to see what they do.
This seems like one of those remakes where it wasn't just let's just do everything the same way we did before. Let's see
Right.
if we can actually do it in a way that we can change things. And I think that's what makes remakes fun if that's the way that you approach them. A lot of
Hmm.
people say that there's no creativity in remakes, which I highly disagree with because if you are actually trying to make changes, there is a lot of creativity that comes with that.
Right. If you're telling a story in a different way.
Yeah. Even like the Disney remakes, for instance, which get, derided a lot before they come
Mm.
out and then make billions of dollars regardless. Even then, like there is a lot of creativity that you still have to bring to the table in that situation because doing things in animation is way different than doing them in live action. You have to now find a way to make this you have to make this animation live in the live action world. How do you bring
Right.
that to life? Yeah, there's a lot of creativity in doing remakes. You have to come up with a new way of doing things in order to make people interested and in order to keep people entertained and not
Hmm.
just feeling like I could just watch the original. And I feel
Right.
like this show is doing that, where it's not just gonna be like, "I wanna watch the original after watching this show." Like, no, it's gonna be different enough that, like, it's something new and it can carve out its own path.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Also, like I really think that the entire time I'm watching the show, I'm just gonna be that Leonardo DiCaprio meme of him pointing at the screen. Because every little reference to the original, I'm gonna be like, "Ooh, I get that." Like one of the first lines of the trailer is "This city will try to make you forget who you are and where you came from." And that's a line that Will says in the first season of the show originally. I think he says it about Uncle Phil because he thinks he's soft and rich and blah blah blah. And then Uncle Phil is like, "I heard Malcolm X speak, boy."
Yeah.
That's a paraphrase, but that's essentially the energy he was giving him. But
I read every word he wrote. That's not a
Right, like
paraphrase. That's legitimately a line.
you have a nice poster of Malcolm X on your wall. I heard the brother speak. You heard Malcolm speak, man. But yeah, I'm
Yo,
looking forward to just pointing at my screen.
the fraternity step scene, I was like, oh yeah, this feels like it's definitely an updated
Yeah,
version.
I'm like Uncle
Very
Phil.
fits.
Uncle Phil stepping.
And yeah, it fits though. I was like, oh, Uncle Phil probably would be part of one of those like all black fraternities that step and do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Feels like
definitely
him.
looking forward to seeing what to do. Also, I love the song choice for Nas's Major Look. Personally, I feel like I would have chosen a song by someone from Philly or LA because, thematics.
See, I
But
was surprised that
Nas is dope.
it wasn't a Will Smith song.
Maybe they
I
felt
feel
like it
like
would be
that would have been the way
too.
to go.
Too on the
Maybe they
nose,
just feel like it's too close. I don't know.
even though he's the executive producer of the show, which also gives credibility to the show itself, is the fact that he is actually working on the show, which is nice.
And I say this every time we talk about the show, but I just love the fact that somebody made a fan made trailer and that led to a legitimate TV show like produced by Will Smith. Like, I just love that that's the time we're in right now.
Also, it's rated TVMA, which means it's definitely going to be a lot more grown than the sitcom ever was.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they're gonna do with that because
But
I've never
find out.
watched the show on Peacock before. So, if it was like HBO, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. We're gonna see
No,
Hillary Titties in the first
it's
episode.
still a streaming service. You can still do whatever you want.
I don't know their vibe over there because like certain services and channels have a certain vibe. Like
I
what you're
watched
gonna get when you watch HBO.
Brave New World, and Brave New World was pretty. You can do whatever you want. So
Is that Peacock?
Peacock, yeah, it was.
Okay, well, we'll see. It's gonna sound weird now because we're talking about a CW show, but when I was watching the Bel-Air trailer, I was thinking, one, this looked a lot like All American to me,
I also thought it looked like All American.
but not CW. And I was thinking, I'm glad that this isn't a CW show. Not to say that it wouldn't be good if it was, but
I mean,
they have there's a certain kind of flavor to CW
They have a
shows.
vibe.
are we
Yeah,
are we allowed to mention the news item? Because
we're gonna get to that.
We're gonna
I
get
mean,
to that.
But yeah, that's not to say that CW shows are inherently bad. It's just not where I would want because it also comes with a stigma that, anytime you hear such and such is being remade and it's on the CW, everyone's like, "Oh god, no, not the CW." But yeah, no, not the CW.
But speaking
But
of
yeah,
the CW,
speaking of the CW,
Naomi, CW's next DC TV show, created by Ava DuVernay, which is great. I love Ava DuVernay. I think that's really cool. Never would have imagined her working on a show that's on CW.
never know.
Never know. It looks like a really cool show. Seems to really capture like teenage life and like fandom really well. Like them capturing the fandom part of like teenage life, like was really cool, especially in a world of superheroes. Kind of reminded me of Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay,
Mm.
I see that.
And I thought that was really well done. I like that she's a Superman fangirl. It's kind of cool. I've never read
Yeah,
these
Okay,
comics.
so like
I think
in
Kayla has one of them, or like she has. I don't know if it's a comic or like a novelization, but it's Naomi something. What were you saying, Colin?
so like we've probably talked about this before, but in I don't know what this universe is called, so I'm not even gonna bother trying. This universe. So the comics exist and are taken from real life?
I guess so. Because yeah, they
Or
did say he's a comic book hero. So I assume that if
yeah,
superheroes were real, that you would just start making comic books about those people.
Yeah,
I
I could imagine.
I guess. I feel like there'd be some legal stuff to sort out since they're actually real.
I don't know, but in the Marvel universe, if you remember the first episode of Agents of Shield, all of the shut up, all the Avengers had action figures made of them after the Battle of New York. So I'm assuming people would try and merchandise.
I like what Naomi looks like. Because I don't really care that much about the superheroes, and so to take it a more what's the word? Like a smaller look at it, where
Oh,
it's
you
like
want
we're
a
not
smaller
focusing
scale?
on we're not focusing on the superhero, we're focusing on like a fan of the superhero. Like I like that, and I guess she's gonna get her own powers or something, and it's like I don't know. I'm interested to see what it is and where it goes. And I
Yeah,
like that take.
there's a mysterious aspect to the trailer as well. Like they're looking for information about something that's happening, mostly to her. But I am
Mhm.
intrigued at the idea of like, what is happening to her? Does she have superpowers? What are her superpowers? Is she a Kryptonian? What's going on? Like,
Right?
imagine being a Superman fan and finding out you're a Kryptonian. That would be wild.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. Is Superman going to show up on this show? Is it going to be Tyler Hoechlin Superman? All the questions.
Is he in? Where is he now?
He's CWDC Superman.
Right. So what's his show? Lois and
Superman and Lois.
Superman
that
and
one.
Lois.
That's the CW show.
Yes,
Yes.
which is really good from the first few episodes that I saw. I got like halfway through
I heard
the
it's
season.
really good actually.
He's so good as Superman, to be honest. But yeah, Naomi looks like it's going to be a really good show. After all the insulting that we just did to the CW, Naomi looks like it's going to be really good.
My bad. I had it mixed up. And this is the thing that keeps happening to me, which is why I wish her name wasn't Naomi. When I hear Naomi and I think DC, I think of Nubia,
Oh,
who is a
that's
completely
Wonder
different
Woman.
character. Yeah, that's like Black Wonder Woman, her sister. There's a book that Kayla has called Nubia, a Real One, and it's like a contemporary teenage version of Nubia. And it's written by
Oh,
L.L. McKinney. I heard it's very dope. But yeah, so I see this like teenage superhero girl on CW, and I think of that book, but the book is a version of Nubia, not Naomi. So I don't know anything about Naomi. I just know, wait, I might know something about Naomi.
see, this is how much he does not know about Naomi.
Okay, no, so I do know that her name is McDuffie because it was a tribute to Dwayne McDuffie. Shout out to him. I just watched kind of a short documentary on him.
Oh, nice.
He was the guy who he founded Milestone, created Static Shock. He worked on Justice League, a lot of really dope DC stuff. By all accounts, he was a genius and a great guy. But yeah, I know the character's last name is a reference to Dwayne McDuffie, so shout out to him. Now I know who she is.
All
Not
right.
Nubia.
We should move on to the next trailer, which is Pam and Tommy
Pam and Tommy.
looking wild as hell. So we talked about our most anticipated movies of the year. We did not get to talk about our most anticipated TV shows of the year. This is my most anticipated TV show of this year.
Yes, it is.
And I never would have anticipated that. When they first announced that Sebastian Stan would be playing Tommy Lee and Lily James would be playing Pamela Anderson, I was like, what is this casting? Why did you guys make this decision? And I was just like, but I'm gonna watch it. And now we've seen Lily James's transformation into Pamela Anderson, and it's ridiculous.
Shout out to the makeup team.
Yo, the makeup team is coming for that
Absolutely.
Emmy. It's a very different role for Lily, and I'm happy for her. I love seeing her do new things. I love seeing her in things in general. This trailer really focuses in on Pamela and how the tape affected her.
Right.
I really like Craig Gillespie. I've liked his last couple of films. I liked I, Tonya. I liked Cruella. And I feel like he's giving Pam and Tommy the I, Tonya treatment. This show seems like he's diving into the themes of like privacy, and he's going to be trying to turn the mirror on the audience and really talk about the misogyny and the sexism that Pamela Anderson faced when the tape was stolen and then leaked without her permission. And then how society kind of fed into the frenzy, how that changed things. Lily just did her first interview about the show. She gave a really good interview with, I think it's called Net A Porter. Net A Porter. I don't know how they pronounce their thing. And she talked about how she thinks that that was like one of the turning points in privacy for celebrities. Nowadays, there's not really such a thing as privacy. You just now give people videos and photographs of your life.
Hmm.
And I was like, yo, that's kind of profound. I never would have thought about it that way. People invade celebrity privacy so often.
Yeah.
And it's really weird when you think about the fact that these are just normal people who just happen to be in the public eye because they act for a living or because they do music for a living and got popular. These people really thought that it was okay for them to steal this couple's sex tape, their personal sex tape, and then put it on the internet to be sold.
Yeah, people do terrible things for money.
Exactly. Before this show was coming out, I knew nothing about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee. I knew Pamela Anderson because she's gorgeous and she's well known for being gorgeous, and
Hmm.
she used to be on Baywatch and stuff like that. But I didn't realize all the stuff that she went through until the show was about to come out. So I'm excited. Sebastian Stan is a fantastic actor. Lily James is a fantastic actress, and Craig Gillespie makes really dope movies recently. Lily James apparently went through 4 hours of makeup to get that look, starting at
Goodness
3:30 in the
gracious.
morning. And
4
Sebastian,
hours?
4 hours, starting at 3:30 in the morning.
It's not like they're making her the freaking Grinch.
They had to do like her face definitely has prosthesis on it because I look at
Yeah,
that
it's
face
not
and
her face anymore.
I'm like, I see Lily, but I also don't see Lily anymore.
You was a completely different white woman.
They had to give her the chest piece. They had to
Makes sense.
the wig. They had to put like a tanning spray on her or whatever that you use to tan people up.
Yeah,
So like, yeah, 4 hours. And like,
that's nuts.
imagine starting at 3:30 in the morning. and spending your whole day like that.
I don't want to start anything at 3:30 in the morning.
Exactly.
Like nothing starts at 3:30. Everything is ending or it's done already. Don't start nothing with me at 3:30 in the morning.
And then on top of that, her acting in the trailer also looks really, really good. Like her acting as Pamela looks really spot on. I went to go watch an interview of Pamela Anderson's, and I was just like, wow, no, you actually do sound a lot like her. How weird.
Mm.
And Lily read like all the books that Pamela Anderson has written, read her poetry, and like watched a bunch of interviews to the point where she compared them. It's crazy. I said that Gillespie seems to be giving it the I, Tonya treatment. And by that, I mean, like, I'm interested in seeing how he explores the double standard that women get when it comes to situations like this, like the way, like the shame, the slut shaming and all that type of stuff, like the sexism and the misogyny, and how it doesn't really affect men too much, but it does really impact women.
Mm.
And I'm excited to see how he handles that because he did it really well with I, Tonya. Although I, Tonya is also a very morally gray type of situation, I guess you could say.
Right, because in this situation, Pam is the victim, not the perpetrator
Yeah.
of the scandal.
Yeah.
And then Cruella's both because, dogs killed her mom or whatever.
She didn't hate the dogs. She hated the woman who controlled the dogs.
I would have hated both. All y'all going over there. Just my mom up.
It's like she ended up adopting the dogs later. It's fine.
That's wild. I'm not adopting the dogs that murked my mom.
But yeah, it looks dope. It looks like it's going to be a great show. I'm excited. Starting in February. That's how I'm going to start. Going to start my year with Pam and Tommy. I started my year with Boba Fett, technically. But February,
Yes, you did.
let's go.
Just in time for Valentine's Day
Woo! I mean,
and Black History Month. Are there any black people in that show?
I don't know if I would want any black people involved in that story. Just leave them.
They don't have to be the grimy ones. They could be the homies.
Leave that in that bubble.
Leave that to the CW. They have the black people.
No, don't leave it to the CW.
I mean, the last show we talked about, black show on CW.
Yeah, but the one before that is for Peacock, so.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, Pam and Tommy, Hulu, February 2nd. I will be watching. Super excited. I've been tweeting nonstop about it. It's ridiculous.
Yes, you have.
Uncharted. Woo!
Video games.
I don't really have much to say about the Uncharted trailer. It's the same as like the first one that came out. I'm like, yeah, it looks like a fun globe-trotting adventure movie. I enjoy those types of movies. I like Tom Holland. I like Tati Gabrielle. I'll see it. I have no previous knowledge of Uncharted at all. So.
My notes are, I love Tom Holland. I'm in. Don't know when I'll see it because COVID, but I'm in. Colin, is this a game that you play? You play games.
I have not played the Uncharted series. I know people who have. My roommate in college was like super into them. Like when I think the third one came out, he bought like the special edition that came with like a statue and shit. I like the look of this movie as a movie. As an Uncharted adaptation, it's weird because like Tom Holland is both too old and too young. Mark Wahlberg is just too young. There was a scene with like Tati Gabrielle holding a knife to his neck. We'll see how that goes.
You think he's gonna call her? Never mind.
I don't know what
she's
he's
also
going
part
to
Asian.
do.
I'm gonna throw that out there.
Oh man, he's had bad history with both of those. 2 strikes.
Ooh. Can't believe you get that many. Anyway,
for the record, guys, these be jokes.
What do you mean by Tom Holland is too old and too young? How old is the character supposed to be?
I can't tell because the series is mostly Nate as an adult, but then it does. I think the third one has him as a kid, but he is like a child. Not a child. He's not like 5.
He's a teenager or something like that.
Yeah, and so Tom Holland is this weird in between.
So he's younger than the typical age of the character, but older than like the flashback age.
Yeah, and so that's weird. And Mark Wahlberg is just straight up too young. Like, I think they had fucking Paul Newman do the voice for Sully in the games. Like,
really?
Man's old. I think so. He can sell salad dressing. He can act. He can voice act. He can do anything you want him to do.
Is he alive?
No, I think he passed away recently.
Rest in peace.
Anyway,
but Colin, they gave Wahlberg a mustache. That makes him older, right?
You could believe that.
Yeah, that works. I don't know. I didn't play the games. I just like Tom Holland.
I know nothing, Jon Snow.
Same. And they have some nice little lines in the trailer. Some nice bantery jokes. He jumps into like a giant chandelier. I don't know what that thing is that he jumps in. It just reminds me
Would you
of
call it a chandelier?
Oh, the
'Cause I don't
light
know what the
things?
lights were kind of
Yeah,
separate.
the light thing. It's a big light thing.
I don't think it's a chandelier, but whatever it is.
Not really a chandelier, no. Just a bunch of lights. It just makes
They're
me
like
think
light.
of
They're light tubes. I think they're just light tubes.
just tubes of light.
Yeah.
Makes you think of There's a Jackie Chan movie where he jumps and slides down a bunch of Christmas lights. But being Jackie Chan, he just did it. So he like almost killed himself in real life doing this stunt. It's ridiculous.
Jesus.
Shout out Jackie Chan, man.
Jackie Chan's amazing.
Unrelated, but shout out Jackie Chan.
Do we have anything else to say about Uncharted?
I don't know. Colin's our
I
video
don't
game
think
guy.
so.
Great. Cool. Looks like fun. We'll check it out when we can. Hopefully we'll get to
Yep.
see it in time to actually review it.
When we can.
When
will
we
see
can.
about that.
Shortly after Christmas, WB surprised people with a new Batman trailer. Nobody was expecting the Batman trailer at that point. It had been 2 months since the previous one. I think we were waiting until we got closer to March. But yeah, it's called The Bat and the Cat.
Yep.
You can tell that excited me as soon as I read it.
I was gonna message you. I've been rewatching Batman the animated series as well.
Yay.
And whenever Catwoman's on screen, I think of you. I'm like, oh, Demi would love this.
I think she's only been in 2 episodes that I've seen so far, but I'm watching it really slowly right now too, to be fair. So
Yeah.
we'll see if I can finish it before the Batman comes out. I want to. That's the goal.
Okay, yeah. You got some work cut out for you. It's a lot of episodes.
It's 3 seasons though, so I think I got it.
Yeah, but the first season is like 60 episodes.
I
or
know,
something
which is
crazy.
weird. It's wild. Why? But like they're all like 20 minutes, so
Yeah,
I just
binge
gotta
it.
find a day to just binge and just watch a bunch of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
that cat. I'm so excited about the fact that it's like this trailer was like, hey guys, we're just gonna focus on that cat for a good portion of it. Robert and Zoe's chemistry is off the charts. The fight scene where he gets her on the
He
desk.
slams her on that table.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's a wrap.
I was like, dang, dude.
Go home, everybody. This is the best comic book ship of the year. We got a lot more plot detail this time around. I feel like we got to look at what the third act is going to be. Michael Giacchino's score is still killing it. I still think it might be one of his best scores that he's done.
It's so good. I hate it. It's so good. It's like 4 notes, and then you put some other shit around it. But like, the core of it is 4 notes, and it's incredible.
Dun, 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 dun,
Shout out to
dun,
Michael Giacchino.
dun.
He's great.
It's such a great theme, and I'm so excited.
I'm gonna need him to go hard on those track titles, though.
I hope so.
Especially with the Riddler involved, the opportunity is there.
Colin, question.
What's up?
So we know how Michael Giacchino does his track titles.
Yeet.
And we know that there's a Catwoman.
Mhm.
Do you think the word pussy is going to be in any of these track titles?
Maybe Pussycat?
I would
Pussycat
say
count.
Okay.
maybe Pussycat, maybe, but even that, I don't think so.
No pussycat?
He might be able
think
to.
I think they won't go that far with it. They'll do cat illusions. Like I feel like one of the tracks will be called like 9 Lives or something. But
Yeah, probably.
I don't think they'll go that far.
We
They
won't
want
know
you to
until
take
March.
this seriously, and using the word pussy might make people giggle.
Here's the thing. Nobody is
Mhm.
looking at Michael Giacchino's track titles except for us. Because
Well, I mean,
what's-
and the people who put the soundtrack out, like
they are.
Right, but like you're not going to be watching the movie like thinking, oh, I can't take this seriously because he said like beat the pussy up or whatever. And
It's fine. It's they can. I hope that he goes all out with his track titles this time around. I'm sure it'll be great, whatever he comes up with. I'm so hopeful that he just goes for it because
Also,
the rest are great.
according to his Twitter, his name is pronounced Giacchino.
Giacchino,
Yeah.
cool.
okay,
Michael
I remember looking that
Giacchino,
up once.
he's
during
great,
That when he's dope.
and this sounds like it's going to be a fantastic score.
And I wish everyone would just go on Twitter and put how you pronounce their names because I have spent too much time
Yes.
looking up YouTube interviews trying to find out how to pronounce people's names. So when I saw it, I was like, oh, thank you so much, Michael.
Cinematography still looks amazing. Greg Fraser, the guy who did Dune, The Mandalorian, Rogue One, he helped create the technology for The Mandalorian, so this is gonna look amazing. One of the things that I'm most excited about this movie, and I don't think I've mentioned it yet on the podcast as often as we've discussed it, is how lived in this world feels.
Mm,
I feel like usually you watch a Batman movie and it's like, here's the villain this time around, but like you don't really get like the city is a character in and of itself, but you don't get
right.
the rest of the people who like we know inhabit Gotham. And I feel like this is the first time where it's like, yeah, the main bad guy might be the Riddler, but the Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot in this situation, he's out there existing, living life. Selena Kyle out there living life. Falcone out there living life. Batman deals with these people on a regular basis. And I feel like this is the first time that like we've had a movie where all these people aren't necessarily villains to the story, but they do exist within this world. And it makes the world feel very lived in.
I definitely think in terms of live action, you're right because
Yeah, that's what I mean. I
n-
don't mean animated.
yeah,
Animated, we go all out all the time. But like,
right. Like every animated movie got all kinds of niggas in it. I'm like, oh yeah, I know you over there creeping. Yeah, because Nolan was kind of like, I don't even want this to feel like a Batman comic book story. I just want it to feel like a dude in Gotham beating up poor people.
yeah.
The old school, like Jack Nicholson is dancing to Prince music and stuff, so it's a different kind of feeling.
Yeah, and, like, we would get different characters, like, the Michael Keaton movies, it was, like, the first movie you had Vicky Vale and
Hmm.
the Joker, and then the next
Right.
movie, even though Batman had a thing with Vicky Vale in the first movie, the next movie, Vicky Vale's gone, we've got Catwoman and the Penguin.
Hmm.
Like, so they kind of worked like that, where it was like, every movie will bring in a new set of Batman characters. This one feels
Hmm.
like, we can bring as many as we want in, they all exist in this universe.
Hmm.
They don't necessarily have to be the bad guy, they just have to exist.
I saw a tweet that says Riddler is dressed like Kanye, and I can't unsee that because I looked it up and he looks exactly like Kanye during the Yeezus tour.
Okay, but that concerns me because the Riddler is supposed to be dressed up like the Zodiac Killer, so does that mean that Kanye was dressed up like the
Well,
Zodiac?
no, it's
Maybe.
fine because neither of them is dressed up like Ted Cruz. Get your shit straight.
That's true. It's definitely Ted Cruz. I guess yeah, I could see that being Zodiac aesthetic. It's just the big jacket and the like, man, that is Yeezus all over it.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
it's so weird. Like I am excited to see this movie, but the trailers don't excite me that much, and I think it's because having seen so many versions, like live action versions of Batman, a grounded trailer just kind of makes me think like an updated Nolan take, which,
Mm.
he did a good job. I enjoyed his movies. And I think I'll enjoy this movie. I think I'll need to actually see the movie to get hyped about it because other than it's like, oh yeah, Batman, is doing Batman stuff. This looks cool, but it looks cool in a way that doesn't feel that new to me. Even though I love Matt Reeves, I love Andy Serkis, I love Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright. It's a bunch of stuff that makes me think I'm going to enjoy it. But this happens a lot with me.
I think for me, this Batman movie feels like all the things that I love about other Batman movies put
Hmm.
together. So, like, it's got the
Okay.
groundedness of Christopher Nolan's Batman movies, but not to the point where, like, this is realism.
Mm.
Nolan was like, "This takes place in a real world," type of thing. Whereas Matt Reeves, it's like, yeah, it's grounded, but it's also kinda got almost a gothic, fantastical element that you get from the comic books and from Tim Burton's Batman movies. Because
Mm.
one of the things that I loved about Tim Burton's Batman movies was how gothic it felt, and I still get
Right.
that feeling here. But then you've got, like, the action sequences look like first off, these look like the best Batman combat sequences we've ever gotten from a Batman movie, and they also look very similar to the Arkham Knight video games. And then there's stuff about it that feels almost like Batman the Animated Series. Like, it's taking, like, all the best things that I like about different Batman iterations and
Mm.
putting them into one film, which is why I'm super excited.
I look forward to it. I don't know when I'm gonna see it because plague, but I look forward to it.
So, like, I think about the concept of a Batman movie and I'm not excited about it. But these trailers do slap. But also, I am terrified that they might be taking a lot from the Court of Owls run, which I don't think is very good for a number of reasons.
Hmm.
And this trailer in particular really makes me think that they might be doing some stuff that run did that I just thought was so like comic booky, but stupid comic booky. I am interested to see this movie, but I'm also slightly afraid of it.
I think there have been situations though where like comic book movies have taken comics that maybe weren't well received and have been able to take elements of it and make something great out of it. A lot of people have pointed out
Hmm.
that Spider-Man No Way Home has a couple of elements from what is it called?
One
One
more
More
day.
Day. And
Yeah.
I've read that not a lot of people like One More Day, but they were
Everyone hates
like,
it because it's terrible.
yeah, but Spider-Man No Way Home somehow takes elements from it and makes it
Yeah.
great.
That's exactly what I was thinking when you started that. I was like, oh yeah, like one more day. They really did. And you can tell from the like, oh, everyone's gonna forget me, blah blah blah. But yeah, they made it great. So I haven't read the Court of Owls stuff.
I
I've
like the
seen
idea of the Court of Owls.
Yeah, I've seen one of the animated movies, Batman versus Robin, deals with the Court of Owls. And that was really dope, but that was more about Batman and Damian
Mm.
than it was about the Court of Owls. But also, if they're doing that with everything else that they're already doing, I feel like that's a lot to try to balance because we haven't seen anything about the Court of Owls in any of these trailers.
So I don't think if they do the Court of Owls, I don't think it'll be the Court of Owls or the big bad in this movie. The Court of Owls is the type of villain where you can have them hidden in the background, puppeteering everything. You don't have to
Right.
like
Well, that's
focus
kind
on
of
them.
the point of their storyline of that run is that they have been hidden in the background. Now they're finally in the open. But a lot of what that storyline has to do with is about like the Wayne family and their
Mhm.
Oh
history.
yeah.
And there is a lot of this and like the where it all began stuff. There is some of that. So it does feel like they're kind of pulling like the Wayne family drama from the Court of Owls run, which is the stuff I
Mm.
don't like.
Okay.
So
We gonna see.
We are going to see.
also if they do Court of Owls though, they're hitting it hard in 2022 because that's what
That's the Gotham
Gotham
Knights
Knights.
game. Yeah.
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 They're making use of Batman's newest rogue gallery. I also want to say though, one of the coolest shots in this trailer is the Batmobile skidding to a stop and the car flipping in the background, just coming out of
Mm.
nowhere into the frame and flipping. Insanity, dude. Like, what a shot, bro. Like, I'm very certain they did that practically. So just knowing that the camera is hitched to the back of a car, the car has to stop in a certain way to get the shot so that the car that's coming up behind it now has to like roll into the shot. It's wild. It's crazy.
Cinema.
Cinema.
Shout out to movies.
Shout out to movies. I'm so excited.
I would like to take a moment here to say to me, you thought this might be a shorter episode. You were wrong.
I know I lied. Oh, I did say at the beginning, we'll find a way.
Yeah, you added a caveat.
That's
so
true.
like
I did.
Life finds a way. I am surprised that you haven't been thirsting at all in this episode.
I'm like Gabby.
Batcat, what's her name? Lily James. Like,
I'm not
nothing?
Gabby. So
I just thought I thought you'd pick up the slack. But Gabby's
no,
not here. I
not
thought you'd
openly.
got it. I was like, he's slamming Zoe on that freaking table.
I brought it up for that reason, but also Gabby's not here to pick up on what I'm putting down, so it's fine.
He was putting it down. Anyway,
He's about to. No, okay, so that's all we've got for you guys today.
we have news. Remember, we kept talking about CW.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's
you
never
thought
made
you were
money.
done. You were wrong.
So the CW is being sold, I guess.
They're
by
looking at their
Viacom,
options.
CBS, and Warner Media.
But Dallas,
Hmm?
why is it being sold? What specifically was said about it?
Well, Colin, apparently it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. So,
By one metric,
according
yes.
to the Hollywood Reporter, news of the possible sale arrives as the network, a joint venture between CBS and Warner Media, has never been profitable since its formation in 2006, when the two companies merged the former UPN and the WB network. That just feels like,
Why would you let an experiment go for 15 years?
That's my thing. It's like, is this true?
Also,
Are you
like,
telling me that you guys have had a network
Supernatural
for
never
15
made money?
years? Right, Supernatural ran for 15 years. You let it run for 15 years. You let all this stuff happen for 15 years and you never made any money. Netflix will cancel a show in a season and a half just because I'm watching it. And you're telling me that the CW is just going to sit here with these two major companies just not making money. And they kept adding to it. Like the Arrowverse
just hemorrhaging
kept
money.
getting new shows. Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Superman and Lois, or whatever it's called. I don't know.
Some
Riverdale
of which are still
has been
going,
8 flavors of crazy. And right, you're still running some of these shows.
and
Why
presumably just losing money while you do it.
I don't know. Like, I want to say there's something else going on here because I just don't understand. I'm not a businessman, but that feels like bad business.
Like, one of the very basic tenets of capitalism is
Make
stuff
money.
matters if it turns a profit.
Yeah.
And I don't think you let something go for 15 years if it is consistently not turning any profit.
And I don't know how it wouldn't be. Like, you have a lot of like established IPs. You have shows that people talk about a lot. People are watching these shows. How y'all like making no money? What's going on?
I can't say that I'm surprised though, because I've seen their ratings. I used to look at them back when I, started not liking Arrow. And
Right.
and yeah, their ratings aren't great regardless of what, like, compared to other networks,
Mm.
they're not great. And ratings are actually how you make your money because
Mhm.
of ads and stuff. It's about how many people you're getting to watch the advertisements that are being played on commercial breaks.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to buy the CW. I'm curious as to what that means for the shows that they have on the CW, because
Yeah.
then are you
That's where I'm
leasing
curious.
are you leasing them out after that, or are you
Here's the question.
putting them elsewhere?
Why would anyone buy the CW when it has never been profitable?
They apparently already have an offer, and I'm sure you would want it for the name branding, and then you could change it to be whatever you want and hope that that becomes profitable.
And I just like Warner has so much intellectual property.
Yes.
That what happens if, let's say, Disney. If Disney was like, yeah, why not? I'm gonna buy everything. And they bought it, all of this Warner stuff that you have, like Riverdale, all the DC stuff.
I don't think they're selling the rights.
No, they're not. They're not selling the shows. The shows will still be theirs. I don't know what they're going to
That's what
do
I'm
with
saying.
them
Like, what's
after,
gonna
though.
be on this network?
Whatever the new owners
You're
want to
taking
be on
everything
it.
with you?
Well, it's also like this sale will probably take months. It's not going to be it's not going to be done tomorrow. But like they're launching another show today.
They're launching
that
Naomi.
talks about Superman. So it's like, how?
I guess they're just gonna take Naomi wherever they go with all their stuff. HBO Max.
They'll do what they did with DC Universe, where they'll take all the shows that they had on there and move them to HBO Max and shut down the network.
That's what I figured. But it's just like, what? Whoever buys it, what are they buying? Just like the space?
Yeah, you're probably just buying the space,
Like
which
Channel
is
5?
profitable in and of itself, just to have the space, because then you can put anything you want on it.
Yeah, and that's like one of the big, back when I had regular TV, Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7. It's one of those. Channel 5, I remember.
You buy the brand and you buy the space.
It's also interesting because CBS still has their own channel. Like, they have CBS.
I mean, so does WB. Don't they still have a channel?
I think it's where the CW is.
I could have sworn they still had their own channel, but maybe I'm wrong.
Because NBC has Channel 4. The numbers might be wrong now, but CBS had 2, NBC had 4, 8, Disney has 7. Fox is now owned by Disney, but they had 11.
Maybe they just don't care. Maybe because we're living in the age of streaming, they're just like,
Maybe,
yo,
yeah.
just watch HBO Max. Maybe that's what
Honestly, yeah. So we're just gonna put this stuff over there.
maybe that's where they at. Because they've got HBO and they've got CNN. Maybe they just don't care about having a network television channel. Or
can see
maybe
that.
they'll keep the network television channel and just make it something else.
I don't know.
Just won't
I'm
be
looking forward to seeing who buys it and what they do with it. Just because CW is such a it's such a thing. There are memes, there are jokes. A lot of what we said today is based on the reputation that the CW has.
Yep.
Oh man.
What's the last piece of news that we have?
It's not this. It is Scott Pilgrim. They're making an anime show, apparently on Netflix. But most importantly, the creator is involved. Brian Lee O'Malley is going to write, and Ben David Grabinski is going to executive produce.
That's dope. I like Scott Pilgrim the movie.
Yes.
And I like anime as of recently. So
That's true. You're a weeb now.
So sure, why not? Let's do it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I guess now probably the last remaining non-weeb on the podcast because Gabby's watching Naruto.
Dallas, I'm telling you, you don't have to be a weeb. Just watch My Hero Academia.
I'm gonna be honest. If there's gonna be an anime that's gonna make me really into anime, it's probably gonna be this one. Only because I love the source material. Like over the course of the plague, I've read all of the Scott Pilgrim, books.
Graphic novels.
And yeah, graphic novels. Thank you. I was gonna say manga. So it's not a manga. I love reading it. I love the movie that they made. Honestly, having read it, I'm surprised that it works so well in live action because this feels like something that definitely should be an anime. It's so over the top and colorful and just cartoony versions of violence. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of the cast. I haven't heard anything about if they're going to try to bring people back.
It's probably a whole new thing. Just get voice actors.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. I love Scott Pilgrim. It's so much fun. It's so ridiculous.
So watch Scott Pilgrim, and then after you're done with that, watch My Hero Academia.
Or, watch whatever you want to watch.
He can do that too, but I also would like him to watch My Hero Academia because I feel like me and him would have a great conversation about it. And he can find out what the rabbit chick is about.
Yeah, I keep seeing her all over the freaking internet.
And he keeps asking me about it. I don't know what answers to give him. Let him watch it for himself and find out.
Because you're my hero person. I mean, there are a lot of my hero
Colin
people,
is the My Hero person also, but I just talk about it more.
She's you've watched season 5 and I haven't, so
yeah.
I don't know why you haven't watched season 5.
Because I don't remember what the fuck was happening, and
find a recap.
I mean, I'll just
video.
read some Wikipedia summaries and.
All right. Anyway. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim's getting an anime on Netflix. We'll see how that goes. Seeing as their animated shows typically last a lot longer than their live action shows.
Yeah, I think Dragon Prince got like 8 seasons ordered or something like that.
I'm gonna rearrange what I just said. It's not that they last longer because they might not actually last longer, but they get more seasons because they get made faster and released faster. So there's a lot more content to get, even if it doesn't last as long.
Okay, so Dallas, you can watch this show. That's fine. You cannot publicly say that you like it.
No, I will not let Netflix know I'm enjoying this show.
Great.
When they say like, "Are you still watching?" Be like, "Nah, I'm not watching." Don't cancel it, please.
And that's all we've got for you guys today. Of course, we had to end on Dallas's feud with Netflix.
It's a curse.
Ryan Murphy's going to make a documentary about it one day.
Ew.
Thank you guys for joining us today for this very interesting special episode that somehow is still as long as the rest of our episodes, despite us not having a movie to review.
Honestly, it might be longer.
We just
talk
like
too
each other.
much.
We like talking to each other.
Yes, and even though it hasn't been that long since we've released episodes, it's been a very long time since we recorded one because we recorded those in advance.
Yeah.
So,
Oh dang, yeah.
we miss each other. I got the icebox. You know, it's been a lot. Holidays happen. We missed each other. Let us talk to our friends. Stop hating. Anyway,
And we want you guys to be one of our friends, so talk to us.
yeah, talk to us. Comment. Do all the things I told you to do earlier. Thanks for listening. Crown Digital, Brandon, Io, thank you for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so that people can listen. Demi, thank you for editing and putting us on YouTube.
And coming up with a way for us to do this episode without actually seeing a movie.
It's so simple. Just don't talk
I
about
mean, clearly
movies.
it worked.
It did.
Yeah.
Might be our new thing.
It's funny. I wanted to say thank you for thirsting in Gabby's absence because I was so sure that you were going to thirst over Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson. Then you didn't, but that's fine.
I have restraint, Dallas.
You do. You do.
That's
I
true.
respect that. I respect the restraint because I've heard the things you say about these people.
And it's still not as bad as anything Gabby has said on the podcast. So.
No, man, I want Gabby to come back because she's a wild one. Colin, thank you for putting me on the Spongebob Docupants because
Mhm.
I love it so much. Yeah, audience, let us know. Are you excited for all the stuff we talked about? Fresh Prince? Are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic? Do you hate remakes inherently? Are you excited to see the 4 hours of makeup that they put on Lily James to make her Pamela Anderson?
I am.
Yes.
Are you guys ready for the Batman?
Are you ready for the Batman? Do you have theories about the CW? Do you think it was like a money laundering scheme that just went horribly, horribly wrong?
Oh my god.
I don't know. Warner Brothers, please don't shoot me. Let us know. Answer all those questions in the comments or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk to me about SpongeBob Docupants, because I have more to say about it, hit me up on Twitter and or Instagram at a king named Simba. Goodness.
You can talk to me about something. I don't know. Something. Hit me up on Twitter at Doug McGuck.
Talk to Colin about The Witcher 2. Or The
Well,
Witcher
I
Season
mean,
2 or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but like 7 out of 8 episodes, I was like, this is all right. And then that last one hit. So it's like, I don't.
Yeah, they can talk to
Anyway.
you about why the last one hit.
That's fair.
Well, the first 7 didn't.
All right. And if you guys want to talk to me about the panic that is going to ensue starting in February because of Pam and Tommy and continuing to March because of the Batman, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
And if you'd like to see Gabby, you can find her on her Twitter at What's New Pussycat.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I was hoping you would do that. Thank you. All right. It's been different. Bye.
Bye.
Place your bets on whether or not the Batman will get delayed.
Ooh,
They're holding for now, but we'll see.
we will see.